All power. All power.
Radical economic change was the overriding theme of the ANC's fourth policy conference held last week in Midrand. In his closing address to delegates, President Jacob Zuma claimed the ruling party had turned a corner on policies governing land reform and state intervention in the economy, particularly the mineral sector.
Conference agreed that state intervention with a focus on beneficiation for industrialization is urgently required in the mineral sector.
Zuma said debate was spirited, and delegates found each other, offering a unanimous voice going forward.
You had at some point different views, but debated them with dignity and discipline. This is something to be appreciated.
This was despite rumours that fighting broke out during discussions over land reform, moments before media were allowed in to cover Zuma's speech. There was also the singing of rival songs, seemingly displaying the factions within the party, separating those vying for Zuma's re-election as party president to those seeking him to be replaced with Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe. However, any suggestions of a leadership battle emerging at the conference was quashed by ANC leaders.
The delegates to this conference did not come to elect leaders. We came here to decide on the recommendations on policies. I'm not aware of any policy position that is linked to anything about elections.
I don't know why people will take the organization's thing and make it to be owned by individuals. I don't know why. They don't learn. Do they?
Another burning issue was the ruling party's strategy and tactics going forward. The contentious second transition policy document was altered into the second phase of the transition.
The conference resolved that the interventions required to speed up change, especially with regard to economic transformation, can be understood as marking the second phase of the transition to a national democratic society instead of the second transition proposed by the National Executive Committee.
ANC leaders claimed the change in the document was to streamline their approach to the future, but it was understood to be a hotly contested issue. Returning to policies, to bring about speedier and more equitable land reform, the ANC have scrapped the willing buyer, willing seller policy.
Conference also affirmed the proposal to replace willing buyer, willing seller with the just and equitable principle in the Constitution, immediately where the state is requiring land for land reform purposes.
We do not need to change the Constitution for this. Expropriation without compensation will only happen where land was acquired illegally. Only the court could determine whether land is acquired illegally, so there will be no indiscriminate expropriation without compensation.
The pursuit of nationalisation was also a talking point, but it was decided government would play a far bigger role in the mining industry without implementing the controversial policy.
Nationalisation was debated, but it was not part of the mining section. Right. It was discussed in broadly whether we should retain nationalisation as an option or not. But the greater consensus where we agreed is that there should be a greater state intervention.
Policy aside, the conference was an opportunity for Zuma to assert his stance on discipline.
Conference emphatically condemned factionalism and agreed that political discipline is a necessary ingredient without which no organization can achieve its goals. We also agreed that the ANC should take active interest in ensuring that its leaders understand and play their full role in line with the purpose for which they were founded. This includes making sure that the leagues undergo compulsory political training.
Attention turns to the ANC's elective conference in December. Although nuanced, leadership factions within the ruling party have begun to emerge. These will only become more apparent as Mangwa approaches.